Welcome back, everybody. So my next movie review for you is Spider-Man Far From Home. So in this next Spider-Man installment, we get to see Tom Holland return as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. We also get Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. We also get an appearance from Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, plus many, many others. So in this second installment, we get to see Peter Parker basically going on this big school trip abroad, and he has a bit of a crush for somebody, and he has this plan to try and show his love for this person. But while being abroad, a new threat and danger appears, and he basically has to try and fight this new villain while still trying to keep his identity hidden, which is very, very difficult for him. And he has to come up against, to be honest with you, quite a good villain. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't even know the Spider-Man universe that well, but I was a little bit unsure of Jake Gyllenhaal as a villain. And if you've seen the movie, you get the two sides, and I actually think he pulled it off. Thinking about it, the day I actually watched it, I was like, I don't know if Jake Gyllenhaal was actually a good villain in this. But then when going back and reviewing it and thinking about this movie, I actually towards the end of this movie, or the second half of this movie, I actually think to myself, actually he's pretty damn good, to be fair. In his roundabout way, he's very, very kind of psychotic would be the word I'd use for this in certain places, and I think it's actually a really, really, really good touch. To be fair, like I said, the storyline in this is not hard to follow as such. I'm not going to say this is predictable because there's a certain bit in there which completely threw me, and I thought to myself, when is the main villain going to turn up? Well, little did I know it was actually Jake Gyllenhaal. But yeah, I enjoyed it. The storyline was not hard to follow. The comedic moments in this movie are pretty good, to be fair. I did find myself laughing at a few of them. I think it's just the way that they set this out, and it's something to do with Marvel and their comedic moments in this. They don't overdo it, but they do enough to give you a good giggle. And I had a couple of times in this movie I was actually giggling a little bit to some of the comedic moments. Also, another thing I found is I never was bored watching this movie. Where I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, I do not hate Spider-Man, let me put it like that, I'm just not a big fan. I'm always like, am I going to get bored in this movie? And generally, I wasn't. Yes, there are a few slower moments in this, but once again, it wasn't enough for me to start, like, kind of finding myself doing something else, or, like going, oh, I'll just move that, or, you know what I'm going to say, I wasn't bored. Action sequences in this are actually pretty good as well, I have to be honest with you. Now, I am one, and I've said this so many times, I'm not a huge fan of CGI, and I'm not. And I know that they had to use CGI in this movie for the content and what they were trying to show you. I get it. And there is a lot of it in this movie, I have to admit, but this is probably one movie I can actually say I didn't mind it too much because of the sequence of action that's in this. There is a cracking scene where Spider-Man's in this kind of like a illusion kind of thing, and there's a lot going on in this, and it was kind of like a bit of a psychedelic headfuck for me because I was wondering and I was struggling in certain points what the hell was going on, and I think it was very, very well done. I have to admit, that scene, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, to be fair. And it was really, really testing Spider-Man, and I like that. Like when your hero gets tested, it just added to it, and there was a lot of tension. It's like, where's the outcome of this going to happen? What's going to be the outcome of this? And I think they pulled it off really, really well. Also, one of the things I liked in this one, you do get a bit of a love interest for him, like I mentioned. The whole point of this trip was for him, or it was a school trip, but he also had this plan to confess his love for MJ, which never went to plan for him. And you do get that sense of feeling. You get that, it's like, come on, is this going to happen? Please let it happen kind of feeling in this. And eventually it does happen, but it happens in such a great way. And it's kind of like a very, very good, happy ending to that kind of thing. Because throughout the movie, it's like, I just don't think this is going to happen. And then it does, but it happens in the most strangest of circumstances. Other things I liked, there's quite a lot I liked in this movie. I'm going to keep the end fight scene, I think, was absolutely brilliant because Tom Holland actually, this is the main reason why I think this movie is actually better than the first one, is because that end fight sequence. He gets a hammering, he gets a beating, but yet he keeps going and he keeps fighting. And the way he does it or wins in this is just, I just absolutely love it. He uses his own kind of, he's not relying on anybody as such in this movie. This is all his own thoughts. He's in like, I just love the way I'm trying not to say too much in just in case any of you haven't seen it. All I can tell you is that end fight scene I actually think is probably one of the best fight scenes I've seen. To be fair, I'm not saying it's absolutely amazing. I'm just saying it's one of the best, and I've seen quite a lot in movies. To be fair, but this one I just really grabbed my attention. Let me put it like that. It wasn't underwhelming. It was exactly kind of like what I wanted. Then knowing realistically, Spider-Man is only really in this movie fighting a human. I just think they really pulled it off really well, and I think they did this movie as a general really well. Like I said, there's so many things I like about it. You know, I'm not talking about anything that I wanted to say in the order I wanted to, because all the notes I've got in front of me are just completely out the window, to be fair, because there's so much I enjoyed. There wasn't anything that I disliked in this movie, and you know, like I said, when I first watched it, I was a little bit unsure about Jake Gyllenhaal as a villain, but and in the first half of his like kind of this movie, and you go, oh, this, you know, who is going to be the main villain? And you get this sense that these elementals, and then they get destroyed. It's like, so who is it? And this is why I don't know the Superman, Spider-Man universe that well. I didn't know that potentially this guy is a villain, and I just think towards the end, knowing that he's just human, I think they pulled it off. I think they pulled this whole movie off. It was an entertaining watch. I wasn't bored in any way, shape, or form. I was quite engrossed in the movie. I liked the special effects, which is very rare for me, and I liked the CGI. There was that one scene where he's in that illusion, like I said, there's a bit of a head fuck, and you, for me it was anyway, and I enjoyed that. I just think I just really enjoyed the way they put this movie together. To be honest with you, from start to finish, I just wasn't bored. There's, like I said, there's plenty of comedic moments in here. There's a nice little throwback to the first Iron Man as well. It's a great little scene there where he's in one of the planes and he's designing his new suit, and some music come on. I'm not going to give too much away because I want you guys to sit there and watch it, but it's a nice little throwback to the first Iron Man. There is an Iron Man influence into this movie. And going on to that, we're saying that the deal between the Spider-Man's being pulled from Marvel, I think is an incredibly bad idea, because that influence from Marvel and the Avengers and Iron Man and all that is a very key element in this movie. And I think if you take that away, these movies might take a little bit of a tumble. And I think they really should do another deal. Let me put it like that. Because there is a very key element which adds to this movie to make this movie even better. I think without that kind of Iron Man Avengers element in these movies, I think they'll go a little bit downhill. And I think it's a really bad idea, to be fair. I think they really should just make another deal. But generally, as a whole, I did really enjoy this movie, without a shadow of a doubt. So I thought I was going to give this a Cookster rating. It's like, yeah, damn right, this is an enjoyable watch. I do apologise. There is no, I'm going to keep saying this until everybody's got used to it. There is no more 1 out of 10s anymore. This Cookster review is, yep, it's a damn good movie. Worthy of a watch. Really enjoyed it. Wasn't bored in any way, shape or form, which makes this movie a fucking good watch for me. So, on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care, and goodbye.